Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday evening, January 1st, 2023. And I can't believe we made it through another week, and not only that, a whole year. I'd like to wish everyone Happy New Year, and as happy as it can be. But also like to thank everyone for being here on this journey with me as we look at the collapse of the climate system, the irreversible collapse. And I've been specializing in methane and sea ice. I'll also look at earthquakes and Climate Reanalyzer and other websites, and so we can see things deteriorating in front of our eyes. Anyway, I'd like to welcome everyone to the show tonight, and I didn't intend to get started this late. It's almost 9 o'clock my time, but anyway, it's been another hard week for me, and probably for a lot of other people too. And I'd like to go ahead and start out by saying and thanking NOAA for his comment that he left this evening. And he was asking for me to do just some speaking videos, the vlogs like I've done in the past, and I'll think about it. And I miss those. I like to do those spontaneously, just when I'm moved to talk about a certain subject. But I do best when I have a live audience, or I'm live, and that's how I do best on those. And I still have my Blog Talk Radio account. They changed a whole bunch of stuff. When was it? Last year or year before last. And for the free account, you're only given so much space to do stuff on the free account. And anyway, I still have that, and I could do that, and that would be a way for me to do that, and then make the audio into a video and put it on YouTube. So I'll think about that. And thank you for your nice comment, Noah. And frankly, one of the main reasons I haven't done any recently is I just don't have the energy. And this year has really taken it out of me. And and I have problems with speaking for too long, and I'm sensitive to environments, and I'm always sick, reacting to something. But the good news is I don't get regular illnesses, and in fact, I'm the only one I know that's not sick with some kind of respiratory infection or flu or something. But I've got other issues that I don't like to just talk about all the time. But I'll think about it, and I appreciate your comment, and the respect that you gave me. And I'll try more. Maybe what I can do is on my Sunday shows, maybe I could do a little bit more just commentary on world events and spiritual stuff. I'll see how it goes. But I will be here tracking and reporting on the demise of the planet, and as best I can, and as long as I'm able to with the platforms that we have. So anyway, there's that. And we're going to start with Climate Reanalyzer, and just to get an overview of the planet today. And here's our 2-meter maximum temperatures worldwide, and see this cold air is now it's over Siberia, coming across the Arctic and Canada and Greenland, also across Russia there. But look at these greens coming up in the Atlantic, and that's above freezing, and it's still I mean, you'll see when we look at 2-meter temperature anomaly, everything's heating up, even with the cold crazy weather. And we got snow here last night. I'm thinking here at my apartments we got about 6 or 8 inches. It rained all day. I mean, it snowed all day yesterday and into the night, and then the power went out at 4 o'clock this morning. I was awake, and anyway, no power, no heat in these apartments. Everything is electric. So I lit a couple of hurricane candles, and then came back on about 3 hours later, and I just stayed in bed and went back to sleep until after 10. So that's been my day and evening last night, and we've had that atmospheric river, and it's just sitting over us right now, and we've got heavy rain this week, and anyway, it's a long story, and it just takes it out of me dealing with all of that. But we've got more to come. But anyway, enough about me. So here's the flat view. We've got whites down here in South America, and that looks like southern Brazil, and Uruguay, Paraguay, and what is this? Argentina, parts of Argentina. And we've got a few whites in Africa, a lot of whites in Australia. Over half the continent is in whites, and white denotes 40 C or higher temperatures, or 104 degrees Fahrenheit or higher. And so, they're in the summer season in the southern hemisphere now, so we're going to see higher temps down there. And we're definitely in the winter season here in the northern hemisphere, especially where I live. And here's 2-meter temperature anomaly. Now look at this. So we've got pinks in the Arctic over Franz Josef Land, pinks and reds from Svalbard all the way across to Severnaya Zemlya, and light pink, and that light pink is 24 to I don't know, 24 to 28 C higher than normal. And then the whitish areas like here in Canada, that's up to 32 C higher than normal. Or maybe that's 10. Yeah, I guess that's 10. And we've got a little whitish here. I don't know, it's all so confusing. And then reds coming down into Russia, and then browns. Look at Europe, you're in browns and reds all the way across to Russia, and here these browns, heavy browns coming down. Yeah, I guess that's 10 instead of pink. This coming down from Canada, and we've got warmer than normal through most of North America. Here's the flat view. Here's Australia in the browns, and anyway, there's that. Antarctic has some browns. And here's the overview, and these have gone up. A lot of these have gone up just since yesterday. Worldwide, we're up 0.7 C higher than normal. The Northern Hemisphere is up 1.27 C. Now this is the highest I've seen this in a long time. The Arctic is up 2.95 C. The Antarctic is up 0.17 C. The Southern Hemisphere is up 0.13 C. And the tropics are up 0.1 C. So this whole Northern Hemisphere and Arctic region and worldwide has gone up. Here's precipitation and clouds, and the blue is snow. That's over all of this North Atlantic region. The green is rain, and here's this atmospheric river just coming off of the U.S., about to make its way across the Atlantic. Here's what I'm dealing with, the rain and snow here. And see, it's just sitting. Once it hit, it's just sitting. It's not going anywhere. And we've got 2 more coming in from the Pacific. And we also have rain here in the South Atlantic, almost up to this western peninsula in the Antarctic. And you know, they do get rain here, generally about 50 days of rain a year, but I think we're going to be seeing more rain down here as things heat up. And the melting is exponential down here, and the refreeze in the Arctic is stalled out. So it's not looking too good for our ice situation on either end. So look at this big blob of rain. I mean, huge. I mean, just a big wall coming across. And I don't know. It's just, I'm getting tired of this. And we also have rain here in the Ross Sea too. So there's that. Here are the jet loops, and it's all broken up. Look at this. And see this loop that starts in the Pacific around the equator, and then look, it kind of splits, and one goes down and this one goes up and across, and then it splits out. So I mean, these lines, these waves are just switching between northern and southern. Let's see. I guess it'll get more like that as things progress. And see, here's this straight line coming all the way across the Pacific, and high wind speed, that's up in the reds. That's 180 to 200 knots. So just straight line, see, from Africa all the way across. So what's that about? Here's sea surface temperature anomaly. This is for yesterday. We still have browns here in the North Atlantic and in the Barents Sea and along the Russia coastline in Norway and the North Atlantic. And we've got reds and pinks, and the light pink, that's up to 6C, higher than normal. They need to update this color chart over here, because I know that these temperatures are higher than that, more than 6C, higher than normal. And Gulf of Mexico is brown. We've got brown all around on this west side of Mexico and around Baja. And so we've got blues right along the coastline of Canada and the Pacific Northwest, and then we've got browns in Pacific. And you can see the Atlantic is almost all in some shaded browns, and the interior bodies of water are still heavy in the browns. So they're not really cooling off. Here's our blob in the South Atlantic that's growing. Here's the Pacific view, and here's our blob in the North Pacific that's kind of hanging out. And we've got reds around Japan. We've got browns up here in the Bering Sea and around Kamchatka, and even in the Sea of Okhotsk. And this is part of the Arctic refreeze area. And so their refreeze right around Kamchatka is just not happening. So that's not good. And then here in the southern hemisphere, we've got a blob forming around New Zealand, and it's brown and moving into the reds. And we still have these browns coming across the Pacific. And we're starting to see some warmer temperatures in this equatorial Pacific region. And that's this will warm up once we hit El Nino. With the blues here, with this equatorial Pacific being colder than normal, that's kept us in an extended La Nina pattern. But now they're saying El Nino is going to hit early this year. And also look at these browns in the Antarctic. Here, let's get around here. I'm clicking the wrong one. I want to see, look at the reds around New Zealand. Here we go. See the browns on this west side of the Western Peninsula. Also here in the water right next to Pine Island Glacier and Thwaites Glacier. Also down here next to the southern coast. So, and we've got, look, brown right here next to the Ross Ice Shelf. So that's not good when you've got browns like that already coming in around the Antarctic. That's just not good at all, especially next to those big glaciers that are, you know, they're ready to go. So there's that. Now we'll move on to methane. And now CAMS finally got caught up with releasing methane data. I got it all recorded and reported on my Subscribe channel, and all of the posts from my Subscribe channel eventually get archived on my website. I'm not as good about keeping up with that, but you know, I do it as I have time and am up to it. But eventually everything gets archived over there so that we have a record of everything. And so I have 2 days worth of NOAA methane data to show. We're going to start with Friday the 30th. This is from the Met-Op-B satellite in the morning at the 1000 millibar level or surface level. The mean or average was 1839 parts per billion. The high reading was 2187. And see these pinks. This is next to Kamchatka and here around Japan. Also here around Greenland. In the afternoon, the mean was 1841 and the high reading was 2173. On the Met-Op-C satellite in the morning, the mean was 1844 and the high reading was 2154. And let's look at this. This is up in Canada, or just off the coast of Canada there in the pinks. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1846 and the high reading was 2147. So here's our spreadsheet and chart. Here for the 1000 millibar level, and for the 31st it averaged out to be 1843.5 parts per billion, and so that gave us an increase this week of 1.75. And here we can see the line going up. So considering that we're in the cooling season for methane, and to see it going up like this in the middle of the cooling season is really not good news at all. Have it going up in December, that's very bad. So let's see what happened here this week. Here's my daily tracking. Here we were last week. Here's the Saturday, the 24th data. We were 1841.75, and we had gone down 2.75 that week. So on the 25th, it went down 0.75. On the 26th, it went up 1.25. 27th, down 0.5. 28th, up 1.0. 29th, down 0.25. 30th, up 0.25. And 31st, up 1.0. So we did a lot of stair-stepping here, but had an overall increase of 1.75. On that level. And you'll see that the 487 level is different than the 1000 millibar level. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show the 31st. I went ahead and did the spreadsheet. Okay, let me go back. Here we are on the 31st. Back to the Met B in the morning. We're still at the 1000 millibar level. The mean was 1841. The high reading was 2166. In the afternoon, the mean was 1839. The high reading was 2154. On the Met-C satellite in the morning, the mean was 1845, and the high reading was 2130. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1849, and the high reading was 2226. So we got that. Now, we'll go back to the 30th, and we'll look at the 487 millibar level. Now we're on the Met-B in the morning. The mean was 1910, and the high reading was 2361. You see all these pinks over this northern hemisphere. It's also coming further south, and that's a range right here. The bright pink is between 2000 parts per billion and whatever is the highest reading here, and in this case 2361. In the afternoon, the mean was 1911. The high reading was 2497. That's getting up there. On the Met-C in the morning, the mean was 1876, and the high reading was 2221. In the afternoon, the mean was 1876 and the high reading was 2234. That's all of those. Now to the 31st. For the 487 level, met op B in the morning. The mean was 1909. The high reading was 2392. In the afternoon, the mean was 1912. The high reading was 2466. On the met op C in the morning, the mean was 1877. The high reading was 2212. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1878 and the high reading was 2220. Look at this pink. That's coming in with that rain. Okay, so for excuse me, gotta get some water. For the 487 millibar level, the 31st averaged out to be 1894.0. So we had just a slight decrease. I mean, just a minor decrease of 0.25 this week. So, at this level, so not much. So, it still should be going down. So let's see what happened this week. So for the 24th, we ended the week at 1894.25 with a decrease for the week of 4.25. Oh, and also we didn't have any days of this week of a lot of missing data to tend with, so you know, none of these were questionable readings this week. So on the 25th it went down 0.75. On the 26th it went up 2.0. On the 27th, it went up again 2.0. On the 28th, it went down 1.75. On the 29th, it went down 1.75 again. On the 30th, it went down 0.75. And on the 31st, it came up 0.75, giving us an overall decrease of only 0.25 this week. And we can see here on the 27th, we were at 1897.5, so we were up. At that point in the week, we were up 3.25. So, when you see cams, I mean, it looks awful. It just looks awful. So here we go. Now we're going to look at cams. This is Copernicus Atmospheric Monitoring Services, and the latest data they have is for Saturday the 31st, which is what we were going to look at anyway. But the fact they don't have Sunday up, they may be holding holding methane and carbon dioxide for a few days, in which case, I'll just keep tracking the NOAA data and reporting on that. And then as the new data comes available on cams, I'll be recording that. And we've got the Arctic view and surface level here. Here's our color ledger at the bottom. The data is for Saturday, and the forecast period is Sunday through Wednesday. And we've been seeing all week high readings coming up through the sea ice. And you'll see this whole East Siberian Sea, Laptev Sea, and coming across, even all the way across to Canada. This has been going on all week. And now sometimes you'll see waves move off of the mainland and come out, but a lot of this is independent of those waves, and you can see it forming independently of any waves coming off of the land. So this is really not good. And we've seen this in the past in the winter time, where we'll see really high methane readings here in the Arctic with the sea ice there. You'd think that the sea ice would make it go down, but like Sam Carana posts, once you get that layer of sea ice, even if it's thin and you've got warm water underneath, that ice acts as a cap, and it holds in the warmth, and so the warmth goes to the seabed, and then the clathrates, the methane, it just comes bubbling up as it's thawing out under there. And also we have permafrost thawing. That releases a lot of methane. We've got Russian wildfires. I have yet to actually watch Jim Mass's video on the Russian wildfires that he put up this week. I'm going to, because that all contributes to these higher methane readings too. Komsomolets is still billowing. Look at Russia. Look at this. And we've got higher background colors all the way across. Instead of greens, we've got yellows, and like this yellowish green is 2020 parts per billion. Then it goes up. The orange color, like this orange, that's 2060. I mean, this one, the bright orange, is 2080. Then the bright red is 2100 parts per billion. And then the darkest reddish brown is a range between 2160 and 10,000 parts per billion. So it's quite a range. And this tar sands region in Canada is billowing. North Dakota and then the U.S. looks awful too. And another reason we see high methane is, in the winter time, people have to keep warm somehow, and anything where you're having to make heat, it's going to be creating methane somehow. The methane is going to go up if you're having to heat. That's all there is to it. Even with electric, say, like my apartment, it's all electric, and so, I use more electricity in the winter time when I'm heating with the electric heater, than in the summertime. And so, you gotta make more electricity, and if it's from a coal burning plant that makes the electricity, then they're gonna burn more coal, and you're gonna see the methane from that. Or, if you have natural gas heat, that's methane. If you have heating oil that you're burning, that creates methane. Wood, if you're burning wood to keep warm, you're going to see higher methane. So, in a way, it does make sense to see all these higher readings like this, because it's winter time up here in the northern hemisphere, and do what you gotta do. And the infrastructure is just not there yet for all the renewables, and I really don't see that we're going to last long enough to even develop renewables. Anyway, here's the North Pole view, and see, you've got heavy methane even in Spain, all the way across, and here in the Mediterranean area, Persian Gulf is filled up and spilling over here into Saudi Arabia. So it's filling up Saudi Arabia there. India is filled up and spilling over in the Bengal Bay and in the Arabian Sea. China, look at the huge waves, and it's well over the coastlines. Look at that. And in the U.S., of course, some days it's just one big blob from the middle, east, from the middle. And then the waves moving out. So we're under the dome. So in the time of year when methane is supposed to be going down, it's really not in the northern hemisphere. It's going down in the southern hemisphere, but not in the northern hemisphere. Where am I going? Getting sidetracked. Now we'll look at the Antarctic view. And this main background color is 1840 parts per billion. And so now we can distinguish the aqua coming up, which is 1860 parts per billion. Let's see, here it's coming up at the Brunt ice shelf. That's a constant. And here at the Larsen B ice shelf. And here on this western edge of the West Peninsula. And you'll see more and more as the summer moves on down there. And here it's coming up on the Amory ice shelf. And this navy blue is now creeping in further and further south as it cools down in the southern hemisphere. And that navy blue is 1820 parts per billion. And now we'll look at the global view. And so you can see the distinct demarcation between the northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere here. And we're getting more of the darker blue around this equatorial region. I don't know, you'd almost think that methane would go up down here in the summertime, but I guess not. And now we'll look at 500 HPA. And you can see it heaviest over the Arctic. Look, Russia. Look how far south this heavy is coming. See it spreading out further south. And then total column. And here it's heaviest from China down through southern Asia. Here's a spot on East India. Here's some darker spots around too. Look, we've got dark, no we don't. That's Svalbard. I thought that was darker methane. We've got darker here in southern Brazil. And then all the reds. So there's that. Now I wanted to show, before we get to sea ice, I wanted to show some earthquakes from yesterday. Look at this number, 270. So the number had been way down for a few days before yesterday, and then it jumped up to 270, and there was some swarming. Like Hawaii had 49 yesterday, so that was a higher number, and they've got some swarming going on at Kilauea. They're not huge, but just more activity there. And then this is in Southern California at Borrega Springs. Look, there were 59 here, and the largest one was at 4.2, and that came in on the 31st at 4:12 in the morning, and it was shallow, 2.5 kilometers deep. And then in Lucerne Valley, California, there were 14 stacked up here. This is in Southern California too, and the largest was a 3.5. And then there was also a 3.2 at Allendale, California, and this is just east of the San Francisco area. And anyway, there were 3 in this image, so I wanted to show that. And then here's sulfur. What am I doing? Here's sulfur dioxide today from CAMS. And we've got a new high reading here over the Mediterranean. I'm thinking it's earthquake related, so we're going to see an earthquake there. And then these are from all this red in China and India and these areas. That's from pollution. Could be from fires too, but a lot of it is from pollution. Here it is at 500 HPA. Now, when you look at this, see that higher reading, it's in an exclamation point form, and that's kind of a signature of being related to an earthquake that will happen within the next 24 to 48 hours. It's pretty well defined. And here's the ozone hole over the Antarctic today, and we can see we don't have the danger zone anymore, but it's still thin over all of the continent here and down into the aqua even. And the aqua is the next color up from the danger zone. Here's the Arctic view of the ozone, and see it's thin here. That's in the area where the 2-meter temperature anomaly is. Actually, it's from Greenland all the way across to Russia there. And then we've got heavy coming up here, Russia. I'm thinking it came up and drifted up from China, though. Here's the flat view. So we've got a break here coming up in the Indian Ocean, and we've got aqua in the West Pacific, and we've got aqua here over the Atlantic over Gulf of Mexico and part of the Atlantic Ocean. And we've got some aqua, it looks like, yeah, over Africa. Normally we don't see it that thin over Africa, but yeah, this ozone layer is not looking good at all. And I took a few earthquake pictures from today, and see the numbers back down. We're at 188 today. These bigger dots are 5s, and there was a cluster of 5s up here, in this is Afghanistan region. We also had a 5.4 at Rio Dell, California, and this is in Northwest California. This red line is the San Andreas Fault Line, and this is the base of the Juan de Fuca Plate. And this is the area where we had that 6.4 off the coast a couple of weeks ago. So to have another 5.4 here that soon, it shows high movement. And this Cascadia subduction zone is just starts right here and goes up. So this 5.4 came in today at 10:35 this morning, 30 kilometers deep, and there are 11 earthquakes right around here. And then we also had a 3.9 at the Pinnacles in California, and there are 14 in this picture. Anyways, 3.9 came in last night at 10:49 p.m. So those were just some larger earthquakes here in the U.S. Okay. Now we get to move to sea ice. We're going to start with our slideshow from these Climate Reanalyzer images that I download every day. And here we are, January 1st, 2023, and it's sea ice concentration and snow cover. And the white is where snow is on land of at least 1 centimeter or more. And we've got whites coming. Look, whites even down into kind of southeast or kind of eastern Arizona, and snow here in New Mexico. But yeah, we're covered up. And this is the sea ice, and it's struggling on the extent. Not much change, in fact, this week. You'll see. Here we were last Sunday. Now, so if we look, okay, so this Hudson Bay is almost all filled in now today. And the Bering Sea, I see a little bit more ice there. Okay, so here we are last Sunday, and we'll just click through. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you can see it retreating here around Svalbard and in this North Barents Sea. That's when that warmer air started forming over there. So here's Wednesday, Thursday, there's another retreat. Friday, Saturday, another retreat, and another retreat. So it's melting. This eastern edge is melting. So if it's refreezing anywhere else, it's not going to count because this is melting. I mean, you saw it. Almost every day it was retreating there. So that's not good. Now, I'll move. This is the U.S. Navy model. This is Arctic sea ice thickness. This is as of today. And you can see the white and the light purple. See, it's melting on this eastern edge. And here the Hudson Bay is almost all filled in. This Baffin Bay is still struggling. And see the aqua coming down. I can't tell if that's just thickening here, or if it's flowing down. I can't tell. So this aqua is what was left of our thickest sea ice from this summer, and it's gradually thickening and going out a little bit, but we're seeing dark purple move to dark blue and so on. And here in the Sea of Okhotsk, see around Kamchatka, this is where the water temperature is too warm for it to refreeze. And here's a thin covering here at the Bering Strait, and so on. Here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to yesterday, so the data goes back 3 weeks, and the forecast goes out to Saturday. Look at this. By Greenland. I mean, it looks to me like it's flowing down. Because I doubt that it would be freezing that thick just in a few days. It looks like it's flowing out. Okay, now watch this ice. It comes out a little and then this whole east side is retreating. See, look at that. That's not good. Okay, I'll stop it. Uh-oh, I missed it. Here, we'll get it going again. Okay, here we are at the end of the model. So for next Saturday, this is what it's showing. Look at all this aqua down here. So it's thickening coming across over towards Russia there, but it's flowing down. It's exiting here beside Greenland, it looks like. I don't see hardly any reds. Very little yellows. We've got a few greens along Greenland and Canada here. Green is 3 meters thick. The bright aqua is 2 to 2.5 meters thick. So let's go back. Here we are today. Well, let's go back a little further even. And we'll watch. Okay, so here we were last Sunday. So let's see what's happened this week. Okay, here, see it's starting to break up. And that's on the 29th. Here we go. Look at that. Yeah, it's retreating definitely. And there we are at the end. So this whole eastern side is struggling because of this warm water from the Atlantic and also the warm air over it and the ozone hole. So there you have it. Here's the Beaufort sea ice thickness. Here are reds, a few reds right along the coastline of Canada. Here's green, and then we've got the aqua, and this is the Beaufort Sea here, and it's purple or dark blue, and that's about 1 meter to 1.25 meters thick. Here's the 30-day animation. This was updated to today. So the forecast goes out to next Sunday. And we can see the ice pulling away. Apparently there's ice drift pulling. See it pulling away from the coast here. So there's holes there along the coastlines. And when it pulls away, like here from Canada, the red comes apart and gets folded in. So the thicker ice, it's not thicker anymore because it's pulled away. And then once the drift pushes it back towards the coastline, it'll pile up a little bit. So here we are next Sunday, and see, here's a hole on this coastline and right down here. Here's the Antarctic, and it's in high melt, and you can see the ragged edges and where it's melting. And this whole north and east side are almost all gone. We've got a little bit left here in the Ross Sea, and on this western side we've got a little bit of aqua and purple here, and then here in the Weddell Sea it's thinning way down, and so this is the majority of the thicker sea ice just east of this western peninsula. Here's the 30-day animation, and this was updated to yesterday, so the forecast goes out to Saturday. Look at that. It's thinning way down, way down. Look here. Look at this in the Weddell Sea. See it thinning way down, coming in. There's that. Here's National Snow and Ice Data Center. This is Arctic sea ice concentration for yesterday. And you can see the blues here where it's melting. And here's the refreeze extent. And the blue line is this year, and the dotted line is 2012. This gray line is the median. And you can see it flatlined here a few days ago. And we've been kind of going back and forth around 2012. But it did flatline, and it's just inching up a tiny bit here, but it's not, it's below 2012 right now. Here's the Antarctic, and see the brown line, anything inside the brown line, that's the median, the brown line, so we're well below the median. And here's the melting, the extent chart. Here's this year, and it's a straight line, see, and last year it had started slowing down by now, this time last year, but it's still going down, it looks like, and there's the median. And that's all of those. Now we'll move on to sea ice. starting here in the Arctic on NASA Worldview, and the black circle is where it's still dark, and this should be starting to shrink soon as the sun starts coming up. Here's our sea ice concentration level, and let's see what it did this week. So we're going to focus on this east side since we already saw it retreating. So let's go back. So here we were last Sunday. So we're going to watch this east edge and down here too. Here we go. Here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Here it comes. See, Wednesday was the day that it started retreating like that. Here's Thursday, Friday. Look at that. Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, you can see it coming back. That's not good. You know, when you're trying to get it to refreeze and it's retreating like that is not good. And I did want to show the nighttime layer here. We'll be able to make out a little bit. This is Greenland here, and this is the Lincoln Sea, and we can see open water here. Here's the nearest strait, and there's open water in between these pieces of ice. It's not frozen solid. And here's the end. See all that open water? And it's open here around Greenland. And then here's the Baffin Bay. So this area is warm, and this just never refroze here so far. I don't know if it's going to or not. Okay, there's our sea ice here coming down in the Baffin Bay. And let's come to the left. Here's Ellesmere Island. Now we've got some cloud cover here, but let's see what we can make out. Okay, moving down, look at all these cracks. See, that's open water, so it has either it refroze and the ice drift is pulling it apart, or it didn't refreeze on these. Here's the Beaufort Sea. We've got clouds there. Let's look at yesterday. See, here's the Beaufort Sea. Back to to today. Here's Koptovik, Alaska. Here's Barrow, the little light there. Here's the sea ice. And here's the Bering Strait. And so that's very thin. But we do have a little ice coming across there. And then here, let's see, there's Wrangell Island, and let's see, here's the Russia coastline. Not able to see much here. Here's the Laptev Sea. Let's look at yesterday. Can't really tell. Some days the model is just not very good at all. I'm amazed we're able to see anything up here. Okay. Here's Severnaya Zemlya. And oh wait, there's Severnaya Zemlya. Here's Komsomolets. So it's right around here that methane is billowing 24/7. Look at this open water. See? Here's yesterday. Day before. Here's Novaya Zemlya, and here's where the ice has retreated, not retweeted. Here's Franz Josef Land, and the ice is inching back. Here's Svalbard. There's Longyearbyen at that light. That's where the seed vault is. I think I read they were going to do another one somewhere, too. I'm not sure. Here's the ice edge here. See? And there's the North Pole there. And we're back to Greenland. Here it was yesterday. Can't see much. Look at the weird thing on the model. Anyway. That's all we can see up here. Now, let's go to the Antarctic. It's going to be bright. We need sunglasses. Here we are in high melt. And starting here on the Western Peninsula. Here's the rain. See? That's the rainstorm. Here's our iceberg we've been tracking. A76. So, let's see what it's done this week. And how can it just stay stalled in one place it looks like it hasn't moved not one bit this week. Here we were last Sunday. Here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, it's starting to rotate left now. Saturday. And here we are today. It's under that cloud. But how can it just sit there? I don't understand. Okay, here's the Weddell Sea. Look at this view of the ice. This is extraordinary. And so this area right here, that's what's left of the majority of the thicker sea ice, right through here. And here's the Larsen Sea ice shelf. Here's Larsen B, methane. This is an area we see methane coming up. Look at this. See how that's coming apart. And here's the Brunt ice shelf. Another methane producer here. Here's a bunch of open water. Let's see if we can see it better. Here's the 29th. Okay. Here's that Halloween crack. There's some more cracks forming, it looks like. Oh, here we go. The 28th. Look at this. Yeah, this could come off. Look at that. Okay, let's go back. Oh, here's the Weddell ice shelf. Look at all this open. Here's where A76 broke off. Here's the western side. And here's Pine Island Glacier. Look at this. We've got clouds today. Here's yesterday. Look, okay, here it is on the 30th. This was Friday. Look at this. Yeah, I was afraid this was going to happen. This sea ice is coming apart. And this is water, open water, open water. And this is the glacier, and this jagged edge is where it had calved off a couple of years ago. And this is sea ice, but that's, I think that's going to melt. And this is the glacier, this is the flow. And then coming on down, this is the Thwaites Glacier, the Doomsday Glacier, and it's got a cloud. Here's today. Here's yesterday. So we can't see much, but this tongue is coming apart there. See all the pieces of ice, and that's where all this ice is breaking up. And here's the tongue, what's left of it. So it was cloudy all week. And this was last Sunday. So this was the best view. So there's that. Now we'll come on down, and we've got open water down here, and here's the Ross Sea. Look at all this open water. Here's the Ross Ice Shelf. Here's Ross Island. Here's our sea ice. Let's go back. Okay, here's the 29th. That's Mount Erebus there. And here's a cloud. Here's a little ice, and here's the southeast edge. Here's the Totem Glacier. There's the tongue. Here we go. Here's the 30th. We can see it. So it's got two cracks, one going horizontal and one vertical. This sea ice is cracking up there. Let's see. Oh, got a cloud. So this is breaking up fast now. Then coming on around. Open. Look at this. Open. Okay, here's the Amory Ice Shelf. Here's another area that methane comes up. Here's the 29th. Look at this. It's the whole thing. Open there. Here's the north end. Look, hardly any. And we're back back to where we started from. There's that. Now we'll take a peek at earthquakes. What have we got now? 197 in the last 24 hours. Look. You see this earthquake here? Just happened. That's where we saw the sulfur dioxide. See? 4.6 Coroni, Greece. That just came in. That came in at 9:28 p.m. So I think that corresponds to the sulfur dioxide we saw. And it's 4.6, so yeah. Look here. Look at this cluster from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, and China. 4 right there. They're all in the 4s, and so on. Here's some 5s. These are all 4s. Look at all this activity here. Let's look at Alaska. Oops, too far. 26. That's a really low number. When we see a low number in an area that gets about 50 or more per day, that means pressure is building to be released. Here's Hawaii. So this has gone down to 20 today. See, it's a lot fewer at Kilauea today. This 3.8 out here in the ocean was the largest. Now, there's a couple in South America. Here we go. 5.2 South Sandwich Islands. So plate movement. Here's one in the mid-Atlantic. It's the reporting station is Portugal, but it's right in the kind of the upper mid-Atlantic. 4.7. That came in at 10:55 this morning, and so on. And let's look here. So we've got one in the New Madrid zone of 1.4 Missouri, one in Oklahoma, 2.1 Crowder. We've got 3 in West Texas, 2.6, 2.4, and 3.2. And nothing in Arizona, nothing in Utah, nothing at Yellowstone. Here's a few up here in the Pacific Northwest. Only 4 up here. And 2.1 explosion, British Columbia. And look at this. Here's where we had this 5.4 today. And see, it started with a 2.5 at 2:33 this morning at Heightsville. And then a 2.3, 2.2, and then the 5.4 at 10:35 this morning. Look, here's one right at Reading. 2.4 Reading that came in at 8:13 tonight. Anyway, you get the idea. Look, we've got a stack here. Here's 5 stacked up together. And one of these was this 3.9 at the pinnacles. That was the largest one. So 5 right here. Let's see how many we had this week. 7 days, all magnitudes. 1,653 this week. We had some Arctic earthquakes up here by Greenland. We had a 4.6 on the southern tip of Greenland at Nanortalik. That was on the 29th. And we had a 4.6 on eastern Greenland, and then a 4.5 in the Greenland Sea. So, plate movement up there. And what's this? 5.2 Changuillo, Peru. Let's see. I'm trying to remember the big ones that we had this week. Oh yeah. 6.0 down here at Vanuatu near Isingale. That was on the 28th. But look at all of these. I mean, it's a wonder that more damage is not done from all these earthquakes. And so here, 23 here this week in this Rio Dell area. And so on. So, just more of the same. That's my report for tonight. And we're bringing it back to a spiritual perspective here. And we're making our way through the book of Job. And no matter what Satan did to Job, Job kept praising God, and he never turned his back on God, kept believing in him. And we need to put our faith in God too. Job chapter 14. Man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble. He cometh forth like a flower, and is cut down. He fleeth also as a shadow, and continueth not. And dost thou open thine eyes upon such an one, and bringest me into judgment with thee? Who can bring a clean thing out of an unclean? Not one. seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds, that he cannot pass. Turn from him, that he may rest, till he shall accomplish as an hireling his day. For there is hope of a tree, if it be cut down, that it will sprout again, and that the tender branch thereof will not cease. Though the root thereof wax old in the earth, and the stalk thereof die in the ground, yet through the scent of water it will bud, and bring forth boughs like a plant. But man dieth, and wasteth away. Yea, man giveth up the ghost, and where is he? As the waters fail from the sea, and the flood decayeth and drieth up, so man lieth down, and riseth not, till the heavens be no more. They shall not awake, nor be raised out of their sleep. Oh, that thou wouldest hide me in the grave, that thou wouldest keep me secret until thy wrath be past, that thou wouldest appoint me a set time, and remember me. If a man die, shall he live again? All the days of my appointed time will I wait, till my change come. Thou shalt call, and I will answer thee. Thou wilt have a desire to the work of thine hands. For now thou numberest my steps. Dost thou not watch over my sin? My transgression is sealed up in a bag, and thou sewest up mine iniquity. And surely the mountain falling cometh to naught, and the rock is removed out of his place. The waters wear the stones. Thou washest away the things which grow out of the dust of the earth, and thou destroyest the hope of man. Thou prevailest forever against him, and he passeth. Thou changest his countenance, and sendest him away. His sons come to honor, and he knoweth it not. And they are brought low, but he perceiveth it not of them. But his flesh upon him shall have pain, and his soul within him shall mourn. Job chapter 14. Well, this is the nature of the human condition, and we weren't promised happiness every single day. We weren't promised an easy life. But Jesus says, I'm the way and the truth and the life, and whosoever shall believeth in me shall have everlasting life. And he also said that the only way to his Father's kingdom is through him. Time is very short. We don't know when the hour is for any of us, but we need to be prepared, spiritually prepared, to let go and leave this earth when it comes our time. So I'm praying for all of you, and I love you all. I hope you have a good week. If you haven't given your life to Jesus Christ, I recommend it. And so, if everything goes okay this week, I'll be here again next Sunday for a weekly update. I love you all, and I'm praying for you. Hope everyone has as good a week as possible, and that you stay safe, and that God protects you. I love you all. God bless you. Go in peace. And I will talk to you soon. Good night.